Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling. We kick off another weekend here of action at the Big A, and after the cancellations last week, we got 9 today, 10 tomorrow, 10 Sunday, and terrific cards all weekend.
Terrific cards. Today, I love today's card, including one of my favorite horses in training running later today.
Not the one scratched, whose name you're annoyed you can't pronounce?
Raj?
Yeah, I know. You were who's your favorite horse in training?
You don't know?
I thought, well, she's not, now they retired that Arkansas bred you're in love with?
Olympic Dreams.
Oh, Olympic Dreams. Well, we'll get to that in the 8th. It's a very competitive race. And what we liked most, and I haven't had a chance to tease my friend Pete Aiello down at Gulfstream about this, is that horse, the Dutch horse that scratched the 4th. I guess it was Arcangelo's debut, and he was calling it
Arcangelo.
Arcangelo. Yeah, Arcangelo. I got to
But look, I had a conversation with track announcer here, Chris Griffin. We could solve all these issues. Turn in a name as an owner with a pronunciation of the horse, and all these problems are solved.
No, I don't disagree. Listen, I would still pronounce them wrong, but you
I would
wouldn't.
as well.
Yeah, you would get them because you're actually diligent about it. Yeah, I mean, I've had owners come to me, and I remember Patty Reeves coming to me in Saratoga, and she had a very funny pronunciation of a horse of theirs. It was clever, and once she explained it and I got it, it was funny. But Miss Domina. And it's misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor, yeah.
And she wasn't complaining at all. She said, you should tell the announcer it's misdemeanor. And I'm like, yeah.
But we want to get it right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. She wasn't,
it
was, and sometimes I think there are clever names.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know about you. Sometimes I look, there's one of Harvey Pack's old favorites there was a horse named Fit for a King, one word, and we had an announcer that referred to the horse as Fit for Raking. That was always a favorite of Harvey's. Anyway, lots of good fun here. The Eclipse Awards last night. No surprise that Cody won. We can talk about it more. We had a lot to talk about in the show. But listen, he was a sentimental choice.
Yeah.
But there's also an argument that he was, in a lot of ways, the best horse in training this year.
I agree with that.
And other than the Whitney, he had a horse of the year, especially in this flawed year. Because there just wasn't a definitive winner.
And look, it's that or it's 2 races for White Barrio, who wasn't even pointing to go to the Whitney until the last second the field was coming up late.
But he did.
But
he
produced.
Beat Cody's Wish, but he lost to him in the Met. And, I mean, I'm splitting hairs, but Up to the Mark should have been third. I don't agree with the whole idiomatic, as she was in a very flawed division this year. She's a very nice horse. She had a terrific season, but I thought Up to the Mark had a very, very terrific year.
Yeah,
and he actually gained in defeat in his Breeders' Cup race. So I would have voted him as one of the potential horse of the years, but that's just
you look at the votes playing out too. Some of the votes are just aggravating.
Yeah,
for jockey of the year, even that someone that gets 1 vote, it's just some of these people should not have votes.
Right.
We say it every year, but you got to take the responsibility seriously.
I think it's Goldman Sachs that lets like 10% of its workforce go every year on producers. They should go back and do that. The person who voted for Practical Move should never be given, for Horse of the Year, should never be given a vote again.
Yeah.
It's not a person that takes their responsibility seriously, and it makes us look like a joke as an industry. We are a joke when people do things like that.
Yeah.
Voting for Auguste Rodin as Horse of the Year, it's an indefensible position. There were 6 people that did that. They shouldn't have votes. Just take away their votes. I mean, maybe in 5 years you want to talk to them again, ask them if they're willing to look at racing and actually make
I'm good with 2-year suspension.
Votes.
Yeah.
2 years? Do you think it is? 2 years for stupidity?
It's got to be something. I mean, it's
levels
ridiculous.
of stupidity. We could have like a graph of levels. And jockeys, right? Nothing against Junior Alvarado, but he got like 4 votes. And Junior's a terrific jockey, but he's not. Even Junior
Mike
would
Smith
say.
got a vote.
Right, Mike Smith got a vote. Mike probably
one
laughed
of the best
about
all
it.
time. He didn't deserve a vote this year.
And he would be the first one to agree with that. And
Yeah.
I think Junior would as well. I don't think I don't mean to be insulting. It's ridiculous. I saw Manny Franco on the way up, and I told him I would have voted for him. But that's why I don't have a vote, because I'd be biased for my man Manny. Anyway, head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. Use the promo code MATCH200, and we will match with $200 of your initial deposit. Go to NairaBets.com. Got to check out those track stats. Head over to NairaBets.com for those. Find out a whole lot of different things going on at the Big A. We've got the middle pick 4. That's the beauty of the 9-race card. 2, 3, and 6 for the pick 4s today. We've got a pick 6 carryover, $18,239 held over from last Friday's card. We have made an enormous amount of interest on that. You ever hear people say, "Oh, you're carrying that thing over and you cancel"? It's like you're getting interest on it. We crushed on the interest on that. I'm going to get the hot dog. I don't even think it was a hot dog. $2,000 hit and split. Late pick 4 today.
Take advantage of
Get
this.
involved in this. That's the last 4 race today's cards. Opt in over at Naira Bets. We got the cross country. We got a whole lot of stuff going on. Races 7 and 8 here, 8, 9, and 10 at Oak Lawn Park. And last but not least, 2:30 to 5:30, covering the last 4 here and the last 6 at Oak Lawn Park. Race number 1. This horse, Take Time to Dream, number 4, I imagine will be a heavy favorite by post time. I've picked him second. You picked him on top. I don't have a big knock on him. He's the horse to beat. The horse that beat him came back to win off the claim for Rick Dutrow and got a perfect trip to win this.
Yeah,
game.
he's what, 3-2 right now. Sorry,
That's
she's
my
gonna
move.
She's going to be odds on in
Still
here.
my move.
Manny Franco, Falcone barn, and battled with this 9 horse, completely put this long shot away after doing all this dirty work here, and then just comes and gets nailed by Kids Last Laugh, who comes back and wins again for 50,000 starter allowance, improved by 9 buyer points, doing so back on January 4th, and just unfortunate getting nipped right there at the end. Very good race, and relative to this field, at least, I think, 2 to 3 lengths faster than anybody in this group.
You don't think if the 2, my top choice, you picked the horse second, could get back to that first race
Yes.
and be the controlling speed in here, she's the only one with a chance to beat her, realistically? The 5, I guess, a little bit interesting.
I'm a little intrigued by the pedigree with the 1. The dam's a half to Rockport Harbor. But yeah, the 2 I think is a major play. That first start, which this one should be able to improve off of, makes this horse a major player. So I picked the 4 on top, but I think Quiescent is a major player.
Okay. I'm not paying first-time starters. Allegedly, perhaps in the drop-down, a little bit interesting.
I know what that look was, by the way.
No, I was thinking about, was Rockport Harbor one of those horses, those connections?
John Service.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
those Fox Ridge ran in the Lexington at Keeneland and was a heavy favorite. And I hated the horse and used 3 in the race and in a pick 4, and I had 3 or 4, and Baffert won. The horse got nothing. Either him or who was the other horse they had after Rockport? They had another horse, too, besides. But
He came after
Smarty Jones.
Yeah, I thought he was I didn't know there was another big one. He was the other
I
big
think
one,
he was
really,
the
wasn't
one. The horse that won for Baffert was Keep It Something, Keep It Quiet. It was a New York bred, actually, that Baffert had that won the race. And
Look, Contessa's, I prefer
he only wins
Contessa.
graded stakes with first-time starters. Only
You stole my
graded
line.
stakes,
You
yeah.
stole my line.
Sorry.
Becky's Joker.
Sorry. You realize that Gary Contessa had 2 wins last year, and it was the hopeful in the Skyward Bill?
Incredible.
That's got to be one of the great records in the history of training. Race number 2. We'll take a look at 2 back for Critical Threat, who I have on top. You have third. I mean, was obviously overambitiously placed off of the claim, is dropping back into a much more logical spot, and should be forwardly placed in here. I thought it was somewhat of a 2-horse race between he and Flamingo Hawk. You've gone a different direction, but I took Critical Threat, who I imagine will be favored.
I'm really interested to see how this rider does here on the circuit. Was riding in Turkey and teaming up with Team Turkey here with the Cantor Machis, but he was averaging, I think, over 240 wins a year the last
There's a nice story about
3
him.
or 4
Who wrote
years.
that? Yeah, it was on
Yeah.
our notes yesterday. Yeah.
So this is not some
it a
new
Granick race
face who
back
doesn't know how to ride. I mean, he won a lot of races over there. So good to see that he's getting some opportunities.
How do you think Manny would do over there? Think Manny would do okay over
I
there?
think he would do okay. I don't think he needs to go, though.
No, we don't want him to go.
He's doing pretty well here.
We don't want him to go. Yeah, listen, I think this is the logical horse. He's the favorite. You're going to take Prince James because you just want to see Ray Handel do well?
For me, Prince James was a pattern play for me. That Chuck Willis race 2 back, yeah, I know that horse battled up front. It looked like a perfect setup for him that day, and then Chuck Willis just ran off, who came back and won again impressively, I think with a 93 buyer in his next start. Incredible.
He did.
But the last 3 times Prince James has run a new top, which happened 2 starts back, he bounced badly afterwards, and this will be the 3rd time coming back. The previous 2 times, he got back to that big figure again. So for me, it looks like big figure, regresses, and then gets back to it. I think today he gets back to it. And if he does, he's, I think, in some ways, the horse to beat.
And Vargas is pretty aggressive. He could be the main speed in this race, especially if Vargas gives him aggressive ride. He was way over his head last time out, to be fair. Flamingo Hawk, I mean, he drops down, still above the level that Rick claimed him at 2 times ago. He was pathetic last time. I mean, I know he was in a bit tough, but he's in the same race as Prince James, who also did not run well in there. But he really did no running at all in there. That bothered me.
It was
bit.
disappointing. And you expect, I mean,
Expect
especially
him to
now,
run
we
well
expect
for
that
Rick.
barn, yes,
Yeah.
to fire Prince of Joy, is there a chance he's the lone speed in the race?
No, your horse is faster.
Really?
If Jorge Vargas can't outride the rider and Prince of Joy for the lead, then he might want to even go back to Tampa. So I think Jorge was riding. I think he was riding at Tampa. I think he's going to be with a break. He's supposed to be in front here.
All right.
Unless my guy goes, my guy could go. He should go from the rail. Race number 3. I took a horse in race number 3 that you also took. That I think the concern is the sloppy seal track. He has run well at times on sloppy seal tracks, but his recent efforts on this kind of surface, and he is a kind of nutty horse and a difficult horse to ride that Katie gets along with, but he's a tricky horse to ride who will make any rider look bad, and I worry about the wet track with him. But the drop down and the last race, they concern me, but I picked him. Did you think he'd be 5-2 in here? I thought he might be a slightly better price.
I think he's just faced so much tougher coming. Maker's Candy earned almost $300,000. He ran 100 Buyer in that race. He was a stakes winner than Mike Lee. Drake's Passage, I still think is going to be a really good 4-year-old for Clement. He's a stakes winner too.
And the Christophe became a grandfather this week.
Did he?
He did. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. He's a grandfather. He's younger than me. He's a grandfather, and I'm not that old.
Amazing.
I'm old.
And he had some issues too. I mean, he briefly sort of went to his knees last night. Like he was never going to be a contender in that race.
He is a nutty horse, and he's a horse that needs to be outside of horses. He can't be inside.
Yeah. But look, I mean,
I got nothing but love for this horse.
Horse beat Olympic Dreams, who's going to be one of the horses to beat in that feature later today.
Right.
Beat Sunday with Sandy when this horse had sharp form. And that was not that long ago.
And to be fair, he was claimed for 25,000. He won for 16. So it's not as though he's dropping down to some level we've never seen him at before. It's a realistic drop down with him. The digital drop down's a little scary. We'll go back to November 10th at Churchill last time he ran the dirt, and he won. Linda had this guy entered for a higher price and either scratched him or the race got canceled. I think she scratched.
Oh, was that last week?
Yeah. I don't. He's the horse to beat. This is a bit of a suspect drop for Linda, isn't it?
Yes, but to me, especially because this is the race 2 back, right, Churchill? I mean, this was a pretty big figure this horse earned.
He'll win if he runs this race.
For 40, I would actually think you want to move the horse up in class off that performance.
Especially after running the horse on synthetic last time and realizing he's not a synthetic horse. And Linda does have horses at Turfway, actually, so it makes certain sense she took a shot there. But coming back here, I just don't love this drop down for her. But I will say one thing with Linda. She does win the drops, but she usually wins on very sharp drops for horses. This is not as sharp a drop, and I'm just running competitively in better races. What about Pit Boss, who I've got third? You've left completely out. I mean, he's moving way up, but he ran huge last time, didn't he?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, this horse is a player. If he can repeat this race, he's in the mix. The concern for me is he did it against softer. Now he's trying to repeat that, or even maybe have to improve a little bit jumping up in class.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually want to tell a stat on Jacobson for what it's worth in a second. My friend Steve just texted me, digital was scratched for 40,000 on the 12th.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago today. I was looking up stats on Jacobson. I haven't done a huge deep dive into it, but I was looking up horses claimed from David Jacobson. In the last 5 months, he's had 19 horses claimed from. 3 of them won their next start, which is a fairly low percentage, but
Chuck Willis, one of them.
I think he is. I think you're right, he is. Those 19 horses have run a total of 50 races since being claimed from David Jacobson. They have only 3 wins. None of them have held any kind of form going forward, and none of them have been able to win, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's something to keep in mind when you see horses that are claimed away from David Jacobson. Mm-hmm. They just don't seem to be able to hold the form. Anybody else do? You got the 1 second. Go ahead. Well, that's horse being.
Well, no, I wanted to. Yeah, I mean, this horse, I think, going a little bit longer. Milwaukee Brew. Talk about what Bobby Frankel did with that horse for a moment. 2.8 mil. This was kind of just a plotter. He became
Milwaukee
a Grade
Brew?
1 winner. The big cap.
Horse.
This horse
He
going.
beat Congaree in the big cap.
Yeah, he did.
You were probably there.
I was not actually that day. Has speed, sprinting. When he ran on dirt in that Fort Erie race, in the Lake Erie.
I agree.
Figures were not far off the best in this group. So if this horse can appreciate a little extra ground, if he can get back to that race, which I don't think is out of the question, he's a player.
He was trained by a man who was winning at 36%.
True.
Just pointing that out now with a barn that won at 7% last year.
Real quick, too, Mason Mania, Owen Garber, his first starter he sent out back on November 4th, who was
we know
Agent
who he
Creed,
is?
actually. Former assistant to Bill Maury, who's not on the circuit anymore, so he's kind of taken a lot of those clients. And
interesting.
he plans to be very active in the claiming game, but that was a big race from this horse last time out. But claimed off Atris, now going here, we'll see if he can maintain
So
that form.
former trainer for Bill Maury. Thank you for that. It's good info. Thank you. All right, we're done. Bye. Race number 4 does not kick off. Does kick off the pick 6.
It does, yeah.
Today, I liked the horse whose name Greg really wanted to say. He's not running, so I changed my picks around a bit in here because I didn't want to have the 5 on top at a short price.
I so agree with you.
Mott's numbers dropping down, first time for a tag, and congrats to Bill Mott and his whole stable for their Eclipse win last night, a well-deserved Eclipse Award. I was particularly happy to see him give a shout out to Leanna as well at the Eclipse Awards, well-deserved for Leanna as
Based
well.
in
I don't
New
know if
York,
she's probably already back here. She's probably already whacked this morning. No, maybe they celebrate a little bit, as they deservedly should. But not great numbers with his drop downs. And G. Munning, yeah, maybe Kendrick can
Can't
set
get out
him
of
from
the
the
gate
outside.
anymore.
He can't get out of the gate. He is. I wish Rob Atris well with this horse because he's got ability, but
does.
he's a nut. And if he doesn't get everything his own way, he just doesn't seem to run his race. And he's a nutty horse. But the outside post, and there was other speed, but I wasn't going to put, I was going to have the race picked 1-5-2, 1-5-8-2. But I don't want to pick the 5 and 8. You know what I mean?
I know.
So I changed the 2 because What a Blast is a little interesting cutting back. Was in against a killer field last time. Was down by a dead rail in that race. So I thought he did enough running in there that he was an interesting wise guy horse. And if the 1's going to scratch, I'll put my money on him. That's it.
I like
That's
it.
my
I'm
story.
completely with you with the 5. I'm completely with you with the 8, who I think actually has maybe more ability than anybody in this field, but he can't get out of the gate again.
I almost put him on top.
He's a head case.
But he's 3-1 morning line, a 4-1 scratch, so he's going to be 5-2. I don't need horses like that at short prices. He may win, but I just don't need him at a short price.
I like Noda in here. Noda's dropping in class. I love Terra Nova.
Should Orlando Noda claim him so he can Noda with Noda?
Noda with Nota. I think
there.
named after Nota Begay, the golfer, I'm assuming.
It's definitely not named after Orlando Noda. I figured that.
No, different spelling. This horse should be more forward. This horse has speed, and he was not forward last time. That was a really tough race. So Full Moon
agree.
Madness, Michelle Nevin runner, who was second in the Nashua last year, 91 buyer that day. It's a tough field. It was off a 4-month layoff. This horse showed turf sprint speed. Why is this horse not more forward? I think today will be dropping in class.
Got to go.
Yeah.
Got to go.
And I think with that, it's going to be a major player here. It's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. He's probably the best, the more logical alternative than my horse. And he's a decent price in the morning line. I don't disagree. Race number 5 kicks off the pick 5, the late pick 5. We'll take a break after race number 5. And listen, we'll take a look at She's Awesome, finishing second with Stop Giggling third last time out. She's Awesome is an hour and a half the horse to beat in here. I'm just a little sick of her running second at short prices.
More than 50% of the time.
Yeah, and I wanted somebody else, and more I looked, I thought, you know what? I know she easily beat Stop Giggling, but
Stop Giggling's a 2 behind her here. She puts
in the
away.
pink. But she didn't make the lead in that race. She's supposed to make the lead in here, and coming off a maiden win, maybe she took a little bit of a step back without the lead. And I figured if you're going to beat She's Awesome, she's going to do it from in front of her. I would use the 5 and 6 here. I didn't have a clever idea on anybody else.
There's definitely, look, I went with She's Awesome, and 8 seconds from 15 starts, that is a red flag. But she consistently runs big figures and, is in that realm. She's actually put together back-to-back races where it looks like she's due for another step forward today. You look at her last 6 starts, paired up numbers, move forward. Paired up 2 numbers again, move forward.
Fire
So
figures
she's done it
are all
again.
consistent.
She could slightly move forward again. But Stop Giggling, there's the upside. Start number 3 of her career. She could take a big jump. It's hard to look at that race for me and say she's going to make up that ground today because I thought She's Awesome put her away pretty easy. But maybe you're right.
My only
she
point
gets the
being, if
lead.
she gets the front end, maybe she gets braver. Believe me, I'm not going to sit here and defend it. She's Awesome's a better horse, I think. Based on what we've seen, she's clearly better. And I just can't come up with anybody else in here to try to beat him. I don't like the race that a number of these horses are coming out. The Chasing Daylight are coming out of. I thought the bottom had an outside chance, having finished third in that race. But I just feel like the 5 and 6 are the right 2 horses.
I agree with you.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with the late pick 4. And there's a $2,000 hit and split on the late pick 4. Take this break and log in over at NYRABets.com and sign up for the $2,000 hit and split.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We're back. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling. Thanks to our friends at Saratoga Water. I went to the Garden. I saw the St. John's game the other night. Actually,
Yeah.
we went to the new Blue Ribbon across the street in Saratoga Water.
It always makes me smile.
It really makes me happy.
It is
when
the
you bring
best
up
water
the
there
Saratoga
is.
Water, the best. Love the Saratoga Water. So we are very pleased that they sponsor us here. Race number 6. There's a big scratch in this race.
Biggest scratch on the card.
Yes, which helps my cause. Well, no.
He was gonna win.
Who? Life
Yeah.
Oh, no. The big scratch for my horse, though, is Lobster.
Okay.
Because with Lobster coming out, can't Gemography be the controlling speed in this
Yeah.
race?
Yeah.
And he handles a wet track. His last race, he was chasing outside against a gold rail against Today's Flavor. The time before that, he was in a very tough spot. On a day the rail may have been dead when he was down on the inside. Now he looks like the speed in this race, getting on a track he can handle. And with that scratch, I like Gemography anyway, and I like him more now.
Andy's loved this horse for about 4 years.
I do love
Take
Gemography.
anyone playing this card today, take an extra long look at Gemography's past performances because he is sneaky, a lot better than it looks like in these. And as you said, now with that scratch, becomes even more dangerous. He's a major player in here.
But you're right about Life Shaver coming out. Obviously, he was a major player in this race.
Yeah,
you're just going to ride that Jacobson train?
I just think this horse. Look, he may be up against it with the scratch in there.
Business model we're talking about?
Yes.
I never know which one of Jacobson's might randomly run well today.
His figures to me just seem so much superior to
I
everybody
agree.
in here, and he consistently seems to run them as well. That was that Joey Freshwater race last time out where that horse took a huge step forward for Linda Rice, beating Hyoka, who was even money that day.
He's been facing better horses.
Yeah.
I've got him second. I don't disagree with you at all.
Ever so mischievous.
And I'm
Bold
gonna-
Journey, Sir Alfred James.
I'm going to tell you something else. Majestic Eagle. Jacobson's had these turf horses, and he's done okay with them. This horse was 5th in the Bing Crosby, one of those races out in Del Mar, I think.
He is out, I believe, right?
Oh, he is?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? I forgot to scratch him. You're
Yeah.
right, he is. I'm sorry. Thank you for that.
But I agree with you.
But thanks for telling me before we were in Fox together, and I embarrassed myself. You know, it's funny. I did that. I don't know if you were here or not. I was talking about was I with you or was I with Sarah? I was talking about a scratched horse or something. I
No,
don't
not me.
remember. Maybe Lafitte. I might have been on Lafitte. And I meant because I never do it, and Maggie never does it, and she did it the other day, and I said, "Don't feel bad. I did it."
I
too."
would have just pretended to go. Of course, I knew that. I was just telling you for next
You
time.
would have been very nice.
I
about
try and cover it up.
actually. So, yeah, I don't disagree with you. I've got the horse second. I thought Silly Key a little bit interesting as well, who you have
I do
second
too,
there,
yeah.
but he's another horse that's compromised by the pace scenario changing does not help either one of these horses.
So Gemography was 5-1 morning line. So with Lobster out,
I think you're
7 to
still
2?
going to get 7 to 2 to 4 to 1 on him. I think you'll still see the entry shorter. Maybe with the 2B coming out, it takes a little bit out of it. I don't know. I'd be the worst morning line maker. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made Signature 15 to 1 in the Fred Hooper, and I wouldn't have made Senior Buscador 20 to 1 in
20
the
to 1,
Pegasus,
yeah.
but I still would be a terrible morning line maker. But
Sagmar Mischief
In
too.
different
Look,
ways.
that horse at least has tactical speed. Not going to be that far off Gemography.
I agree. Should be down there. And I don't disagree. I think he's not going to be that far out. American Gentleman shouldn't be that far out in there. But the pace today, the other thing is, Life Changer was going to be stalking in that race too, so it did really affect the pace. This race had significant scratches. Race number 7. Race number 7 is, I believe, the lone. Is the lone bring back on this card? It's from a race
it?
that was
Okay.
canceled last weekend. That I know.
You have Ghost Busting Nowhere.
I didn't have him last time, and Roddy Valenti was teasing me that I totally missed it with the horse, and I said I missed it. We'll show his last race. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Greg. He's not making the lead in this race, and if she is, isn't she going too fast with Sandy's Garden and Easy Play in this race? She's going to make the lead from them. I mean, this was not much. If she beat Foxy Cara, who's 0 for 8,000, and she did it while controlling in the front end, I think this is going to be a much, much tougher race.
I realize, yeah, it was a 64-1 shot, who she was kind of neck and neck with for a lot of that race until the turn. At least she still put that one away, and she was taking heat.
She held off She's a Natural and Foxy Cara like a good thing.
Look, that was the second start of her career.
I know.
I still believe. I know there's other pace
I
in
hope
this
I'm
race.
wrong. Roddy's a friend, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't
With
like
the
her.
rail, with Kendrick, this horse is going to be. I don't think has to have the lead to win, but I think she might get the lead anyway.
Well, you don't know, though, if she's going to be comfortable rating, especially from inside post, because, I mean, Easy Play and Sandy Garden are pretty quick. I mean, these are legitimately fast horses. And so either Kendrick's going too fast, or both Sandy's Garden and Easy Play got moronic
is
rides.
danger, no question.
Yeah, and the difference, oddly, I switched them because I had them 1-2 the other way, but I liked that Sandy's Garden. I think Easy Play was the 2, and Sandy's Garden was the 6 last time. And now Easy Play is outside of Sandy's Garden, so I took the one that moved outside the other one. They're the main 2 that I want in here. Do you think Mim is a little interesting? Because, you know, my friend David Aragona liked this horse last time, and I thought he was out of his mind. But to be fair, the horse got completely eliminated at the start. Now, whether she's going to win or not, I don't think she's going to be the winner of that race. But I'll tell you something about Mim that is arguable, and you know I'm not a big believer in this. Isn't the fastest fig she ever ran by far on a wet track?
Yeah, there's that. She also got beat by a filly that always runs second. She's awesome.
But
you're right.
But let me put it another way. I've got the 8 and 7 1-2. You've got the 1 and 7 1-2, and you've got the 8 4th. All of them are speed types. They're all potential horses that could get into each other's way. So if they fall apart, who's going to win? I guess you could say Highway Harmony has a chance to win, but isn't she a horse you've been a little more interested in? Maybe she got a dry track. She hasn't been in a dry track since she was a 2-year-old. I do think
Or someone like Valouz, the 6.
Valouz. Is Valouz better than Mim? I don't think Valouz is better than Mim. Do you think she is? You obviously do.
I don't think there's a ton separating those two.
Yeah, and she's going to
It's
be a shorter
marginal.
price. I'm not a Valouz fan. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's hard to be. There's quite a few I'm not a fan. I just think upside with ghost busting. I like the fact drawn inside, and I like the fact that she didn't just get a loose lead, and she had to battle for it, earn it, and then she drew away. And yes, there's other speed, but she can take a big step forward today.
Better speed. Listen, if I'm wrong, I'll be happy for Roddy. So anyway, see what happens in race number 7. It's an interesting race, actually. Race number 8. Race number 8 is a very interesting
Great
race as
race.
well. We did lose a couple of horses, but I don't think we lost major players in here. And obviously, you have to start the conversation with Law Professor because, you know, we'll go back to last year's Excelsior where he dominated a field. And the second place finisher, Keystone Field, was in very good form. Wasn't he coming off that huge win at Oaklawn, I think, in this race? Now Linda has him now.
The Razorback, that third.
No. I'm saying the horse he's beating, Keystone Field. Isn't he coming off like that 102 buyer he ran at
Oh, was
Oaklawn in
he?
his prior race? I think he's coming off a big race. And listen, his Fayette was bad, but he ran well in the Woodward. And I don't know what he was doing on the turf last time. I know he's run okay on it, but I guess the concern is he's outposted on the outside, and there may be some horses a little in the upswing, and I'm not so sure he's on the upswing.
I agree with you. I mean, look, he's got so many races that make him the standout and the horse to beat, but the recent form, as you said, makes him questionable, most notably that Fayette. But even if he can go back to the Woodward, he probably wins here. That's 3 starts back.
The turf race should have been better, too. He's run well on the turf. Quality Chic is an incredible. I'm looking back, and when I bet this horse at 5-1 in a maiden race,
We
and
both
lost
have
to
second.
Black Rain. This is the 1A Quality Chic. This horse ran last time. I mean, I do think that Krupe ran very well in here. Obviously, he's not winning the Pegasus, but he ran very well in here. Signatore probably should have won if he didn't get left. And I think he has a big chance to win the Hooper. Do you know that David Aragona pointed this out to me? Hijazi is in there.
Yeah.
The $3.6 million New York bred 2-year-old. And Signatore's in there. He's a $1.7 million 2-year-old. David said he thinks he's the They're the 2 highest priced 2-year-old purchases of 2022.
Really?
Are meeting up in the
that's
Cooper.
neat.
Isn't that kind of cool, actually? Yeah. This horse is in raging form, and he likes a wet track.
And he's paired up his last 2 numbers. He's going to like this distance. And I think, this is a horse on the improve. Is going to take a step forward today, which to me makes him.
He's crazy dangerous.
Yeah, there's a lot of horses who are not going the right way. Win it, one of them.
And that's the problem, I think, with Law Professor, is he's meeting horses that are moving into good form, and his form's a little questionable. And, your horse, Olympic Dreams, my concern with him, as we show his last race, being Laughing Boy, is, okay, he handled a wet track and won this race. This is a much more competitive race, and he's not going to get the same kind of sort of stalking necessarily, sort of easy out in the clear trip in this race against better horses. And are we really still confident that just because he won this race in the wet, that it's a surface that he loves? That's what I was worried about.
Look, no 2 wet tracks are alike, and it's true. That's why people say that. But no, this horse has had a couple of races over the summer where it looked like he was an emerging star, and then he just flattened out and it didn't happen for him. I looked at this initially and go, it's a tight comeback for him. He's coming back in 19 days off matching one of his best efforts, but you look back to when his form was raging earlier in the year, he actually came back on 18 days rest and ran that bang-up race against Bankit where it looked like he should have won that day.
Yeah.
So I look at that and I say I'm not as concerned.
I know
think
somebody
maybe
bet him that day.
for the pick 5, 27-1.
Oh, and then you had the big bomb in the last race that ran second as well, and you could have taken the whole pool
Would have been
out.
life-changing.
Right, I remember that. And Shanuski wasn't on either one of them, so it's sort of amazing.
I think maybe, too, this is a horse that likes its distance better than anybody in the field.
Listen, I didn't pick him. I have concerns, but I'm not going to be surprised.
I'm a little
if he
upset
does
you don't
well
even
again.
have him in your top 4.
Well, there's only so many horses I could fit in my top 4, and I like Tabagosh.
We're going to confer with Chris Griffin on that.
Or somebody French. We'll take a look at his last race. I'm going to tell you something. I thought he ran well in this race. He had a pretty good trip, and the thing I like about
Brutal Bob beat.
is this was an incredible Bob that I actually thought he had won.
I did too, yeah.
I feel
Lescano
like
and Dutro get him.
he's a Brad Cox horse that needed his race in the Discovery. He didn't really get bet like he thought he would that day. He looked like he'd be favored. He came back with this good effort, and I wonder if he's a horse that's on the upswing, that had potential last year, that is going to be the next Brad Cox horse that's going to be ready to take a stock. It's incredible he lost that.
Oh, it's brutal. It still looks like he won.
Impossible to say. So I'm going to take him, draws well. And is Florent here riding him?
Apparently.
Florent Giroux, trip to Aqueduct. Wow. Florent had a great year last year. Great year last year.
Yeah, he did. No, I'm with you. This looks like a horse who, 4-year-old now on the improve and could be, I don't know if he's going to say this is going to be a horse who's going to be a player in the older horse division, but maybe a cut below, grade 2s, grade 3s.
I'm not going to be surprised when horses out of this race are effective in grade stakes going forward, especially going longer. Listen, did you take a look at the field for the Pegasus? And I'm not.
No.
It's a very fun race. It's a lot like a Cigar Mile. There's no stars in it, so you've got a big competitive field. And the card on Saturday Gulfstream, I mean, I tip my hat to them. They've got all full fields. And I was talking to PJ Campo about this. Of course, was our race secretary for many years, and Javier Castellano's agent. And he made a good point to me. He said, "There's no stars." I think he and Nick Tamaro both said that to me. It's just one of those things when there's nobody to scare anybody away, and the stars just sort of align. The stars align because there were no stars there. I'm not sure that Win It doesn't have a chance here, because I'll tell you one thing: Kendrick's going, and he hasn't really had the same kind of gait issues recently. So if he breaks sharply, and he was down the rail last time, which may not have been the best place to be, are you sure he doesn't have a chance to wire
talking
this
about Win It
field?
here, right?
Yeah.
His form is. First of all, I have major questions with the distance for him.
I agree. See how the track is playing. I agree. 1 1/8 in this field is a big ask. What if the track is favoring speed? So race number
Then I
9, where my backup to the favorite Watch Hill run and score was scratched. We'll take a look at Watch Hill running 2 back against Ola, who came back to win 2 races later. I mean, Greg.
He's going to win.
This horse looks like he's 3 to 5 to close the card out. I mean, he looks like, is he the shortest price in the card?
No, there's an even money favorite in race, the opener.
Oh, okay. Yeah? Are you so sure this horse won't be a similar price? And I know it's a bigger field.
No,
who's anybody going to bet against?
He's dominant against this group. He went to his knee. This was a state-bred maiden special. He's dropping in for state-bred maiden 30 today. Went to his knees out of the gate. He actually made a move around the turn to put pressure on that 3-wide move against the
His
favorite.
last race ran very well.
Yeah, I mean, and that was
I
a 3 to
agree.
5 Pletcher. Off that, he's a massive standout in here, and it's Mike Maker, it's Manny Franco. The horse is he doesn't even have to show up and run lights out. Just run relative to what he's done the last couple of starts, and he wins.
I agree. I mean, I thought the one was a little interesting, even though he's
I
had a
did
lot of
too,
chances
yeah.
coming in from out of town. We've seen all the rest of these. If somebody beats him, he's going to lose if he beats himself.
I agree.
If he shows up, he's going to beat this field. To me, he's, and he's going to be
Yeah, even
absurd.
Owlet, 2 back, came back and won a 50,000
Improved.
starter allowance 2
Improved.
starts later
Yes.
with an 81 buyer.
To me, I can't take anybody else in this field. Greg, thanks. I'll see you later on the show. We'll be on at 2:30, by the way, 2:30 to 5:30 on FS2, covering all the races. You will be playing through NYRA Bets. Head on over. If you're not a member, use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match them to $200 of your initial deposit. We have track stats. Head over to NYRABets.com. Get more information on track. While you're over there signing up, visit track stats. You'll visit track stats, then you'll sign up. We have middle pick 4, race number 3, 2, 3, and 6 for the pick 4s today. 18,000 and change in the carryover of the pick 6. That starts in race number 4, 18,239. We didn't include the 17 cents in interest we made over the last few days. We apologize for that. I have it, though, and I'm willing to give it to the first person that asked for it. 2,000 hit and split. That's the late pick 4. Opt in at NYRA Bet. So for that, I'm going to do that right now. Very easy to do. It'll come up right on the front page. Got the cross country pick 5.
Paul LaDuca back on the show today.
Paul, we were talking off camera, you and I. What has our friend Paul LaDuca been able to do the last 2 weeks without any racing? It's been a long time since they've raced. Glad to have Oaklawn back. We have, I'm looking, there it is.
2:30 Eastern.
2:30 to
Start
5:30
time.
today. Last 6 from Oaklawn, last 4 from here. Thanks again, Greg. Chris Griffin, the man who knows how to pronounce every name possible, most of them correctly. He's coming up next. The reprise of Scratches and Changes. Good luck today.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.